जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च।
The life cycle is eternal. But for a truly meaningful existence, what matters is not how one dies, but how one lives. And Ayurved, the science of life, advocates healthy living as a way of life. The archaeological evidence on the existence of ancient Indian medicine dates back to the prehistoric period. Excavations at Mohenjo-daro and Harappa have found evidence in the form of medicinal vessels and shilajit, indicating that a developed medical science and an advanced public health and sanitation system were an integral part of the Indus Valley civilization. In ancient India, temples and monasteries were the main practice centers for indigenous medical systems. The monastery at Sarnath, built around the 9th century AD, provides evidence of a well-maintained social hygiene and public health system. The 11th century Tirumukkudal temple in the Chingalput district in Tamil Nadu contains inscriptions on the walls of its inner sanctuary. The inscription of the Chola king Veer Rajendra Dev mentions a hospital with 15 beds, a school, and the expenses for maintaining the hospital. Attached to the hospital were a physician-surgeon and 2 male and female nurses whose work was to bring herbs, prepare medicines, and to look after patients. Remains of the first hospital in Hyderabad, the Darul Shafa, or the House of Cures, provide interesting insights into the history of hospitals built at that time. It was built in 1595 AD by Sultan Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah. The hospital provided treatment to patients and imparted medical education to students as well. Both the Ayurvedic and the Unani systems were practiced here by expert physicians, and all medical services and medicines were provided free of cost. The lack of a systematic and scientific thrust to the system led to the emergence of quacks and folklore practitioners who began to take advantage of the deeply entrenched roots of traditional medicines among the people. The stagnation in the system was further abetted by the qualified Ayurved practitioners who tried to preserve and profess the oriental form of these practices within its philosophical tenets. According to Indian philosophy, all matters of the universe are made up of 5 elements: Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, and Prithvi, collectively known as Panch Mahabhut. Each of these elements can be perceived by its distinctive quality. Akash by Shabd, sound; Vayu by Sparsh, touch; Agni by Roop, color; Jal by Ras, taste; and Prithvi by Gandh, odor. Panch Mahabhut are the basic elements forming bodily tissues and sensory motor organs, including the mind. When Atma joins the Panch Mahabhut, The matter assumes life, and the body is termed as Purush. The combination of Sharir, Indriya, Sattva and Atma is defined as Ayu, meaning life, and Ved denotes the science. The biological units of the living body, called Dosh, are Vat, Pit and Kaph, which are responsible for all its functions. The Panch Mahabhut change their dominance cyclically according to meteorological variations, namely Varsha, rain, Sharad, autumn, Hemant, harvest, Shishir, cold, Vasant, spring, and Grishma, summer. This Panch Bhautik dominance leads to the accumulation of various dosh in the human body in respective seasons. In Ayurveda, the phenomenon of disease is conceived as a process which moves in consecutive stages of evolutionary development. The Ayurvedic scheme of pathogenesis is represented by the concept of 6 Kriya Kal, as described by Sushrut. Sanchay is the first stage, when the dosh accumulates or stagnates in its own place. In the Prakop stage, the accumulated dosh tends to become swollen and excited. In the third phase of Prasar, the dosh spreads and extends to other parts of the body. Sthan Samshray is the fourth stage of the disease, in which the vitiated dosh tends to migrate to specific places in the body. The fifth stage of Vyakti is that of the manifestation of the fully developed disease. In the final stage of Bhed, the process becomes more and more differentiated and may become subacute and chronic, or, at times, incurable. The Kriyakal scheme enables the physician to recognize the disease in its early formative stages. Necessary steps can then be taken to correct and eliminate the offending factors. Regular and systematic studies in Ayurveda were initiated in Varanasi and Madras during the freedom struggle. Today, there are 2 postgraduate institutions in Varanasi and Jamnagar, and 23 postgraduate departments for specialization in different branches of Ayurveda. Besides this, there are 99 Ayurvedic colleges spread across the country. The norms of a uniform standard of Ayurvedic education and practice are prescribed by the statutory Central Council of Indian Medicine. The study of Ayurvedic therapies and methods of treatment entails reference to 3 basic texts: Charak Samhita, Sushrut Samhita, and Ashtang Hriday, known as the Great Triad. The Great Triad provides the classification of Ayurveda into 8 main branches: Kaya Chikitsa, internal medicine; Shalyatantra, surgery; Shalakyatantra, diseases of eyes and ears, nose and throat; Bhut Vidya, treatment of diseases due to spirits; Kaumarbhritya, gynecology, obstetrics and pediatrics; Agadatantra, toxicology; Rasayan Tantra, science of rejuvenation; Vajikaran Tantra, the science and use of aphrodisiacs. All these branches, except Bhut Vidya, are taught in the Ayurvedic medical colleges. Ayurveda, as a practiced medical system, has proliferated greatly after independence. Apart from the private Ayurvedic practitioners, there are a number of government and semi-government hospitals which provide Ayurvedic treatment to people. Under Kaya Chikitsa, or internal medicine, IPD and OPD services are available at various Ayurvedic hospitals for diseases like hemiplegia, cardiac disorders, articular diseases, bronchial asthma, diabetes, malaria, obesity, lipid disorders, hyperacidity, epilepsy, leukoderma, psoriasis, and various mental disorders. From ancient times, the pulse has been recognized as the most fundamental sign of life. Sphygmology, or Nadi Pariksha, developed around the 14th century in the work of Sharangdhar, is one of the major diagnostic tools in Ayurvedic medicine. Sharangdhar gave similes of various birds, reptiles and amphibians to correlate the rate and rhythm of the pulse. In contemporary clinical practice, the pulse is examined not only to assess the condition of the heart, but also to study the constitution of the patient and the dominance of dosh. Clinical treatment, contrary to popular belief, is now based on standard scientific parameters and entails the use of most modern diagnostic procedures. There has been a gradual revival and re-evaluation of certain therapeutical surgical measures prescribed in the ancient texts. Shara Sutra, a scientifically accepted parasurgical remedy for fistula in ano, is proving to be very popular in India among people suffering from this disease. The therapy, which uses a specially prepared surgical thread, is being practiced in the majority of Ayurvedic hospitals today. An increasing use of modern scientific procedures for Ayurvedic treatment has led to the eclipse of some ancient and intricate parasurgical therapies like Shiravyad and Agnikarm. Shiravyad involves sectioning of specific veins for specific diseases and is used mostly for treating neurogenic and articular disorders. Sushrut Samhita provides details of such surgical treatment for diseases like spondylitis, arthritis, sciatica, lameness, paraplegia and gout.
ताकिए इधर और ताकिए और ले जाइए घुमाइए हाँ और सामान ऊपर ले आके ऊपर ले जाइए ऊपर मुड़ी ले जाइए ऊपर मुड़ी.
Under the Agnikarm treatment, veins are pierced at specific points to treat diseases like elephantiasis, chronic ulcers, nodules, tumors, goiter and intestinal hernia, as explained in Ashtang Hriday. Special surgical instruments, as prescribed in the texts, are used for performing these surgical operations. Very few experts practice these dying skills of Shalya Tantra today. Yet another therapy, which is rarely practiced today, is Rakta Moksha, or the extraction of impure blood. Leeches, the aquatic blood-sucking worms, are used to extract bad or superfluous blood and thus cure many ailments caused by vitiated blood. It is the mildest form of bloodletting. Only non-venomous leeches are used for treating diseases like migraine, hysteria, abscesses, fever, loss of appetite, diseases of the head, eyes and mouth. Eye treatment with Ayurvedic therapies has proved to be immensely popular. An effective remedy for the diseases of the eye, the treatment consists of a routine cleaning of the eyes with medicated water containing triphala and kashaya, application of rasanjan mixed with honey, followed by a series of exercises to be done regularly by the patients. Thousands of cases of myopia, hypermetropia, astigmatism, cataract and squint are successfully treated here using natural methods. Ayurved Tantra is a branch of Ayurveda that deals with the treatment of poisonous or toxic conditions. It studies the effects of organic and inorganic poisons on the human body, especially the poisons arising from reptiles, insects and rodents. Ayurveda Tantra also provides the knowledge of management and cure of conditions caused by poisonous substances.
नानौषधी भूते जगति नाद्रव्यम किंचिदस्ति.
There is no substance on earth which does not have medicinal values. Based on this saying of Charak, the science of Dravya Gun inquires into the nature of substances and their medicinal values. This is done in order to preserve the health of the individual as well as to cure the diseases he may suffer from. Articles of food, medicinal preparations or drugs, and poisons. All these substances can be used for therapeutic application. Each drug possesses 5 qualities: ras, taste; gun, properties; virya, potency; vipak, systematic change; and prabhav, specific effect, each of which discharges its own function. Today, the multi-crore private companies manufacturing Ayurvedic products have shifted to technologically advanced production methods with strict quality control. The quality of manufactured Ayurvedic drugs ready for marketing is regulated by the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940, further modified in 1964 and 1982 to bring indigenous medicines under its purview. The age-old Ayurvedic prescription for rheumatic arthritis, skin diseases and postnatal clearing of fetus, the Ras Karpur, is prepared from mercury and sulfuric acid. The mixture is heated at various stages at about 400 degrees Celsius and later put in bulbs sealed with clay to obtain a highly effective preparation with important medicinal qualities. The preparation of Ras Karpur is undertaken only at a few places in India, for it requires accuracy, expertise and strictly specified conditions. The prescribed dosage of Ras Karpur is very small and must be taken without touching the gums or teeth. Loh Bhasma is another medicinal preparation which is commonly used for iron deficiency anemia and liver disorders. It is a mixture of iron scrap and triphala which is kept in the sun and successively ground and heated till it is reduced to a fine powder form. Some Ayurvedic preparations like silver and gold pills and shilajit have high rejuvenation properties and are generally prescribed for gaining strength and vitality. These products enjoy a vast commercial market, reflecting their ever-growing popularity all over the world. Another integral part of Ayurveda, the five-fold therapy of Shodhan Chikitsa, known as Panchkarma, works towards a complete elimination of the vitiated dosh from the body. The use of Snehan and Svedan measures, collectively known as Purvakarma, is necessary to bring the vitiated dosh into the alimentary canal before starting the Panchkarma therapy for their elimination. The five Panchkarma therapies are Vaman, emesis therapy, Virechan, purgation therapy, Shirovirechan, nasal insufflation therapy, Anuvasan Basti, oily enema therapy, and Asthapan or Niruh Basti, decoction enema therapy. These basic therapies are supplemented by various massages using medicated oils, herbs, fermented rice, milk, etc., as also oral medicines. Panchakarma therapy is extensively used in the treatment of diseases such as hemiplegia, sciatica and other neuromuscular disorders, rheumatic arthritis and poliomyelitis. Patients suffering from various mental disorders like anxiety, neurosis, respond exceedingly to Kshiradhara and Shirodhara therapies under Panchkarma, which involves pouring of medicated milk, oils and decoction on the foreheads of the patients. Netra Tarpana, another effective Panchakarma therapy for treating eye ailments, involves pouring medicated oil in the eyes of the patients and blinking. There is still a vast treasure of traditional medical principles and therapies in the ancient texts and manuscripts, waiting to be explored and discovered. The Central Council for Research in Ayurved and Siddh, an autonomous body established under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in 1978, is engaged in this task, as also in providing the much-needed scientific credentials and a systematic direction to the advancement of research in this ancient medical system.
The system of medicine is more amenable to the Indian conditions and has important role to play. Government's commitment is that the system should go under the process of new modernization, new orientation, so that it becomes acceptable to the people, those who are educated and uneducated as well. In this hope, the Research Council is playing a very important role, and the system of medicine has enlarged its applicability because of the new developments in civilization. There are new awareness in the mind of the modern man that synthetic preparations have a lot of abuse, they induce toxicity, adverse reactions are there. Therefore, the whole bent of mind is towards the more docile, more humble, more adjustable system of drugs, and for that herbal application will have a super role to play.
Ayurveda is indeed beginning to emerge as a viable alternative to the Western medical system. While persistent research efforts are gradually replacing the unscientific, superstitious image of the system with one which uniquely blends traditional beliefs with sound scientific principles, there is a long way to go before the system can regain its past glory. Yet, Ayurveda has a future. It has to have, with our teeming millions and an obvious constraint on resources. What is needed is a revival of the faith and confidence of the people in a system which belongs to them.